let's talk about Canada. Oh, Canada. Now, Canada watchers already know that there's like a big Ukrainian diaspora in Canada that has been like very openly anti-communist and have been able to kind of get away with being anti-communist as like Ukrainians have people not really question like, wait a minute, like you're Ukrainian, but you're anti-communist, you're anti-USSR. That's fine. Okay. But like from what time period exactly? What's going on there? Like what's happening? Well, what's happening is something that we've talked about a lot, and people actually do get very mad whenever I cover this. But like I've talked about the national interests or the nation building interests of Ukrainians being unfortunately tied to some less than savory individuals historically. Individuals that participated, facilitated in the pogroms, and also sided with the Nazis while doing so. Of course, our boy in Canada, this man, Yaroslav Hunka, got a standing ovation in Canadian Congress the other day, and everyone was like, wait a minute, what's going on? So let's take a look at what happened.
The federal liberals under attack from opposition parties and Jewish groups after a Ukrainian veteran who served in a Nazi military unit in...
So first of all, they didn't present it as such. They did not say, yeah, Parliament, whatever, not Congress. Who cares? Shut up. Nobody cares about your fake country, okay? Go celebrate more Nazis, okay? In America, we don't do that. Just kidding. We, of course, do that in America, too. But this is such a funny thing to happen in Canada because they're like they love the aesthetics of liberalism so much that even their conservatives love the aesthetics of liberalism. There's a lot of things that I want to mention here with this man, okay? So when this news story first came out, they presented it as a patriotic Ukrainian who fought against Russia in World War II. That is how they covered it. This is a much more important part of the story, in my opinion, than like the actual story now. Once everybody realized like that means he was a Nazi, they covered it. They said he served in the Ukrainian army against the Russians during World War II. Now that is, of course, a very interesting way to frame someone. Hopefully, I guess with the secondary assumption that that other people are not going to question it and they're going to think like, oh no, USSR is bad, Russia is bad, obviously, right? Yeah, except regardless of what your position is on Stalin or communism in general or Marxism, Lenin, any of that shit, okay? There's one thing that the Western world is united on. Even the fucking Germans, as a matter of fact. And that is that Nazis were bad. Okay? Nazis were bad. So if you were fighting against the Nazis, you were good in that particular moment. And the USSR happened to be very good at killing Nazis, and specifically Ukrainians that were also a part of the army of the USSR were very good at killing Nazis and also died a lot. Like a lot of people in Ukraine died as a consequence of, fighting against the Nazis. Now, of course, on the other side, there were Ukrainians who did not want to fight alongside the USSR against the Nazis and thought maybe we could use this as an opportunity to carve out our own nation state of Ukraine that is totally removed of the USSR and communist scourge. They were anti-communist, and they of course worked with the Nazis. Do you think it could be miscommunication, or is homie an actual Nazi vet? Oh no, he is not just any kind of Nazi vet. He is a part of the SS. So like this guy is like a this is the type of dude that you like execute still. You know what I mean? No, he's like super duper Nazi. He is the guy. Like he is literally the type of guy that normally would have been tried and executed, or like years later he dies and then like people celebrate his death. You know what I mean? Like it happened like a couple months back. There was like some fucking 98-year-old dipshit Nazi who like passed away and everyone was celebrating it, right? Like it's that type of dude. It's interesting to think about that because specifically this is not about like being pro-USSR or being pro-communism, being pro-Marxism, being pro-socialism at all. This is more so like being anti-Nazi. So let's watch what happened here.
Wasn't just invited to hear Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky speak in Parliament on Friday, but received a standing ovation from all sides of the House of Commons.
So what's really funny about this, by the way, is that like now, of course, the conservatives are fucking attacking Justin Trudeau and being like, typical Justin Trudeau who did blackface, by the way. Remember when he did blackface? And it's like, bitch, you were there. Like every single one of the conservatives in the Canadian Parliament were giving this Nazi a standing ovation. Classic Justin Trudeau mishap. It's like, bro, we saw you on camera. Like, you were also on fucking camera. Yeah, I mean, there's an entire Wikipedia segment dedicated to memorials in Canada to Nazi and Nazi collaborators. The Ukrainian volunteers on the Waffen SS were those. Yeah, it's the Galician one, which is a volunteer unit. They're not even like conscripted or anything. They volunteered to sign up after the invasion of the Nazis and knowingly signed up to massacre Jews, communists, and undesirable Slavic groups. They weren't ideologically different or nationalist Ukrainians. They were dedicated fascists who killed women and children. This dude in particular described his experience with the Waffen SS as the happiest time of my life. And, you know, it's good to know. It's good to learn about history. It's good to learn about history because I think, like, you know, maybe everyone in the Canadian Parliament should learn about history, I think. I know it's not Trudeau's fault, but sheesh. No, it is Trudeau's fault. It is. I'm sorry to say this, but this is absolutely 100%, 1,000,000% the entire Canadian government's fault for just being so horny to be anti-communist that you end up propping up Nazis, which is not a shocker if you are even a little intelligent about American history or global history in general, World War II history in general. If you're like even a little bit aware of what the fuck was going on during that time period, then you personally understand, like, wait a minute, this guy was fucking anti-Russian during World War II? Who the fuck, whose side was he on then? It's not that complicated. But yeah, these are the photos of the SS Galicia Division veteran who was given a standing ovation by the Canadian Parliament, Prime Minister of Canada, and President of Ukraine. He published these photos himself in this division during training in Germany. He is standing in the middle of the first photo, second to the left photo, without a helmet near a machine gun in the third photo. He wrote he volunteered to join the SS Galicia Division in 1943 in Ternopil region in Western Ukraine. Here's how they presented him. Oh yeah, the Deputy Prime Minister's has Nazi grandparents, by the way. Yes, we've talked about this before as well. Anytime I talk about it though, everybody yells at me and says, Hasan, what's your suggestion? Like, don't support Ukraine? It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. But like, don't support Nazis is, I think, a pretty basic fucking concept.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians.
I'm not a particularly smart person, okay? I'm a very simple guy. I'm a very simple guy with a very simple brain, okay? There's a couple things I know. One of those things I know is if you are a veteran during World War II and you fought against Russia, well, then there's not that many sides involved in that situation. The Russians were allies of ours during World War II. I feel like we have gotten so brain broken in the West, and it's that famous French study I show you guys all the time where, like, in the immediate aftermath of World War II, when French people were asked, like, who shouldered the greatest burden during World War II, 75% of Frenchmen said the USSR did, the Russians did, and then, like, now when you go back and look at it, like, half of a century later, it's entirely, everyone says America. That was deliberate propaganda. It's hard to think of them as allies since they went to my country after the war and didn't leave for 40 fucking years. I mean, this is like the other major reason, but you're not Canadian. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people in Eastern Europe also have deep anti-communist sentiment, anti-USSR sentiment, and that's one thing, right? But like, if you're in fucking Canada, it's the same energy as like a dude in Ohio rocking the Confederate flag. At that point, you have no historical reference point. You got no skin in the game. You have no historical reference point. You're just riding for it for the fuck of it. It's just so stupid.
And continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
I gotta run it back. It's just funny because, like, we shit on, like, kick streamers or whatever for, like, doing Nazi celebrations and whatnot. Meanwhile, you got, like, lib-ass Canadians in fucking Parliament that woke up that morning and put on their frock and their high collar, signifying status, and this, like, stupid-ass fucking bow tie or whatever. It kind of goes hard, I'm not gonna lie, actually. And dressed up to be like, all right, today we are going to do Nazi apologia, don't you know?
Here in the chamber today, Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians.
Like, after that pause, you should have just, like, stopped and reconsidered what you just read. You know what I mean? Like, what? Wait a minute. What? Against the Russians during World War II? We were fighting against someone else during World War. We were allied during World War II with the USSR, I think.
Continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
We can give the benefit of the doubt to Trudeau since he doesn't have to know Ukraine's history, but what about Zelensky himself? How come he applauded him too? He's the president and he must have known and reacted immediately. Zelensky knowingly saluted a Nazi? Bro, I don't think Zelensky gives a fuck about anything. He just wants the money and the weapons, okay? He will salute and celebrate whoever the fuck they trot up, okay? And he personally doesn't give a shit either. Like, I'm sorry. At this point, especially post-invasion, there's no, it's out of control. It's not going to happen. As soon as he introduces this person as a veteran from World War II that fought against Russia, everyone should go, what the fuck? When I first heard about it, I went, what the fuck? And this is very scary, okay? This is how you get to this shit. This kind of attitude is not designed in a vacuum. No, the communists were worse, and that's a hard contest to win. Like, the idea that, like, communism is worse than Nazis should be considered, like, the most insane thing to say. At that point, you are not a centrist. You're just a Nazi. But it's hilarious considering that, like, this is the one thing that even liberals understand. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, this is the one thing that liberals understand. And it's like, oh shit, we just applauded a fucking Nazi is not going to look good. Like, the broader majority, the normies who are not as like tuned into what's going on in Ukrainian politics or whatever, even they will look to this and go, oh my God, they brought a fucking literal Nazi veteran to parliament and gave him a standing ovation. There's no salvaging that at that point.
The Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Yeah, look at that. Every single member of parliament, dude, every single one got up and celebrated a fucking literal Nazi. It's like at that moment, at the brittle age of 98, I suspect that he thought, you know what? We might have lost the battle, but I think we might be winning the war. He's 98. He ain't going to do shit now. Lol, Canada is so dumb. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the fucking aesthetic. It's the principle behind it, too. Anyway. So, further... It's just like, it's right there. It's just right there. It's right there. Dude, they made it easy for you. You know what I mean? Like they have the colors and the flag and everything. You know what I mean? What was this guy doing? Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh, never mind. Wait, years of service. 1943 to 1945. Okay, let me, because it does, okay, the fun doesn't end there, okay? Where is it? There's like a quote from him, I think. Did he? Oh, here. Okay, here it is. So in 1943, Hunke volunteered to join the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS 1st Galician, okay? During his time in SS Galicien, he was photographed training in Munich and Neuhammer. In 1944, Hunke was deployed into combat against the Red Army forces on the Eastern Front of World War II. Following the conclusion of World War II in Europe, Hunke immigrated to Canada and joined the Ukrainian-Canadian community. He remained active in Waffen SS veteran circles there and maintained a blog on the internet where, in the early 2010s, please, drum roll, please, you have to understand something. He's not even apologetic, okay? He described the years 1941 to 1943 as the happiest years of his life.